This is the morning sports desk for Tuesday, February 27th. I'm CJ Baumgartner. That is Corey Tackman. Corey, we've been teasing it now for the last couple days, but a special state team wrestling tournament preview episode coming later today.
Yeah, really looking forward to that. We've had the opportunity over the last, I guess, three or four business days, going back to last week, talking to the coaches of the teams in our immediate area who are getting to go to the state wrestling tournament in Staples Motley and Bertha Hewitt Verndale Parkers Prairie and United North Central, and that. What are we calling it? The state tournament special or something? Whatever,
Sure,
whatever it is. We're releasing it today. And really had an awesome time being able to chat with those coaches and talk about their teams and talk about their seasons. As we're doing this, it's just a little after 10 o'clock in the morning because this is the morning sports desk, but we'll put out this special edition later this afternoon. And I think it's going to be really, really well received. The coaches were just great to talk to and gave a lot of great insight, not only about their seasons, but about their teams and their coaching staffs and I'll look back through some history with their programs. I just thought it was really fun. There's this whole big state tournament that's in front of these teams, and sometimes it feels weird to look back on when you have this exciting opportunity that's still right in front of you. But it is the perfect time to kind of reflect and see how it is you got from that first practice of the season to now you're practicing for a state tournament. It's a pretty special opportunity to reflect, and I thought the coaches came through really, really well with their anecdotes from the season. Was there one in particular that you thought that stood out to you that was fun to listen to a coach mention?
Well, I think one that stood out for both of us when we talked with Bertha Hewitt Verndale Parkers Prairie head coach Bill Wagner, he was talking about the very first year that they were all a co-op with Bertha Hewitt Verndale and Parkers Prairie, and the 106 club, which had a kid from every school and all of them fighting for varsity time, but also all of them, instead of using it as an opportunity to resent each other and to cause drama and rift and faction, instead they came together and really helped bring the program along by just all being good buddies and pushing each other and being better and all that. That was really, really cool. I really loved that. With Staples Motley talking with assistant coach Tappy, just getting to talk about what they thought they could do in their section and playing a really, really good holding fort team who was ranked number 2 in state going into the section tournament. And basically with their head coach, Jim Jackson, basically just saying, if everybody does their job, something special will happen tonight. And everybody did their jobs. Some kids wrestled the match of their lives and they were able to get to that spot. Now they're the number 2 ranked team in Class A heading into the state tournament. So that was really, really cool. And just talking with Coach Oyster, talking about just everything that program has put in, going to the state tournament now for, I believe it's the 3rd year in a row, and all the work that's gone into that. That's really, really awesome. Corey, what stood out to you?
I mean, all of those things. Coach Wagner mentioning that. I didn't get the chance to talk to Coach Tappy. By the way, Coach Tappy, I believe, named section.
Coach Birga.
It was Coach Birga. Well, accolades all the way around, which was,
he won an assistant coach, section assistant coach of the year.
Yeah, which is unbelievable. And then Coach Oyster talking about his coaching staff and kind of the family that they have built in that program, where kids who have wrestled in that program are either back on an official basis as a coaching staff, or they just come back to support those kids. He mentioned Ethan Hendrickson, who was just an outstanding high school wrestler, now doing things at the Division II level. When he gets an opportunity to come back into that wrestling room, he takes that opportunity. I think that sort of, there's a lot of things you can say about the sport of wrestling, but the family that's built, it has a certain niche. And that niche is ironclad. If you are in it, you are completely in it. There's no dipping your toes into wrestling. If you dip your toes into wrestling, you're out of wrestling in no time, because there's no, you can't afford to do it any other way. So it was neat to hear his perspective on that and hear him recognize his coaches and former athletes who have helped contribute to, some success for this year too.
Yeah, I mean, all of that. I think too, talking with Coach Tappy, talking with Coach Oyster of UNC, talking with Coach Wagner of BHVPP, all of them, we asked each of them, hey, what makes wrestling in this area so good? And all three of them gave different answers. So please listen to that, because they're all three of their coaches. We appreciate them for giving us the time. They're great. They're all great interviews. They're all great guys. So go watch that episode. Go listen to that episode. We'll try and get it out on the YouTube page around 3. We also are going to have it on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts, as well as WadenaRadio.com and the Superstation K106 app, 3:00 this afternoon for the special episode of the Morning Sports Desk, our state team wrestling preview special.
And if you're already subscribed, you won't even have to look for it.
Right.
Subscribe, it'll just download, and you'll be ready to roll when that thing comes out.
Right. And if you're on a fan bus going down to the state tournament, what perfect listening material to just help ease that drive. If you're somebody who can't go to the state tournament, but plans on listening to the broadcast Kyle and Dan are going to be putting on KWAD on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, boom. There's a good way to get caught up, even if you haven't been following everything down to a T. So it's perfect if you're a casual fan who wants to catch up, or somebody who wants to get just wants to listen to the state tournament. It's perfect. So please listen to that. It's going to be pretty darn awesome. Corey, in state sports today, because things are pretty quiet on the high school front as we're getting ready for section girls basketball, and boys basketball is kind of wrapping up their last week of the season. In state sports, the Minnesota Timberwolves are 1-1 post All-Star break. They have a chance to get to 2-1. They're playing the San Antonio Spurs tonight at the Target Center. They're 11-47. The Timberwolves are 40-17. I believe the Vegas over-under win total was around 44.5 for the Timberwolves this season. So if you smash that over, congratulations, you're going to be getting a nice little payday. So that's something that's on the table there. The Spurs, Victor Wembanyama has been everything that people have thought he's going to, like, for a rookie, for an 18-year-old who's still not in control of his body, a freak of nature, makes Rudy Gobert look small in terms of height. He's been playing very well for his rookie season. His team still stinks around him, which is why the Spurs got the number 1 overall pick. So the Wolves should win tonight, but if anybody has a chance to watch it, and maybe not because it's on Bally, Victor Wembanyama is worth watching.
He's one of the guys now that is like appointment television. If you get the chance to see him play, because you will, I think his nickname is the Alien. There's no one else. There's no one else who's like him. Did you see the dunk or layup he had the other day that went viral? He literally, like, everyone was talking about how he literally space jammed it.
Yes.
You know, when Michael Jordan is reaching out and his arm just keeps going because he's got to jump through somebody. That's it. Literally what happened. And all of a sudden his 7'5" arm, just, you don't know how it could possibly keep going. And then he's just got this little, like, dink.
It's in.
Easiest 2 points I've ever had. Thank you very much. He's like jumping from the free throw line and can just bloop.
It's in.
He's pretty special. He also, offensively, what he's doing, he's still figuring out his rhythm and finding his rhythm. You know, he's 7'5", but probably 206 pounds or something. He's very skinny, but defensively, I think he's averaging almost 4 blocks a game, and which is more than anybody. And he is a complete menace defensively to handle. I mean, I saw a video of him the other day. He did like a crossover between the legs, step back dribble from the left wing 3 and just cashed it. And you're like, this guy hasn't even figured out how to play offense yet, and he's doing that. Oh, he's all the hype about him was correct.
There's a reason that Greg Popovich has decided not to retire yet. Let's just put it that way.
He's crazy, man.
Yeah, he's crazy. And so it'll be fun. It's really fun because Rudy Gobert kind of sees him as like a protege. Like, obviously, both coming from France. Like, Rudy Gobert's very invested in his NBA career. So it'll be very interesting to see those two go up one-on-one against each other throughout the entirety of the game. Rudy Gobert is questionable according to yesterday's injury report, but should be able to play. He did not play in last week's game, or last Saturday night's game, where they ended up beating the Brooklyn Nets. So we'll see if he does end up playing tonight. Looks like he's on track to do that. So Gobert versus Wembanyama. It's a French versus French. Who surrenders first?
Oui. I am late tired.
Speaking of guys with French names, the Minnesota Twins trade for Manuel Margot yesterday. And we talked about it on the podcast about how the Twins were in the running for Kiki Hernandez. Enrique Hernandez is what his full name is. And he would have been a super utility guy. Not that great of a hitter anymore, could play center field a little bit, because we talked about the Twins have still not found a replacement for Michael A. Taylor, or they have not gotten that right-handed hitting power bat that you can kind of platoon with Matt Wallner. But the Twins end up doing what Falvey always does, which is makes a trade for somebody that everybody goes, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot that guy exists, and kind of goes and gets him. So the Twins trade for Manuel Margot, and they get a third base prospect who's like 20-ish in the Dodgers system. What the Twins had to trade was Noah Miller. And the Dodgers must like Noah Miller. He's a shortstop prospect, very, very good glove in the high minors. Can't really hit at the level that the Twins probably like. He's a good glove, but also when you look at Correa, when you look at Lewis, when you look at Lee, Julian, there's just nowhere to put him in that infield. So the Twins are like, okay, here, take him. And what the interesting thing is, because Margot cost $10 million, the Dodgers are going to pay, I think, $6 million of that. And I think because he has a contract, he has a option for next year that's $12 million. The Twins won't pick that up, but it's a $2 million buyout. And I think the Dodgers have to be on the hook, or the Rays, one of the two teams, because he was traded from the Rays to the Dodgers in the Tyler Glasnow trade. So he played all of 2 spring training games for the Dodgers, didn't record a hit, and the Dodgers like, get out of here, you stink. Go to Minnesota, you're banished. Go to Florida. So Manuel Margot, who is this guy? He played for Tampa Bay, also played a little bit for San Diego early in his career. He's a singles and doubles hitter. He's hit 8 home runs in the last 2 years. Singles and doubles guy, plays all 3 positions in the outfield. There's your Michael A. Taylor replacement. He strikes out. He's taking number 13 from Joey Gallo. Joey Gallo struck out like 40, 50% of the time last year. Manuel Margot strikes out 13% of the time. So the Twins end up getting a guy who can't really hit for power, but can play center field and has decent singles and doubles possibilities. And if Buxton does end up playing center field a lot, then you can platoon him with Matt Wallner. He has about a 720 OPS versus lefties. In 2022, his OPS versus lefties was in like the 800s. So basically, he can be a Buxton backup in center field. And if you need a guy to hit lefties for either Wallner or Kepler, that's a nice guy off the bench you can bring in late in games.
That's literally why he's here, is to be a right-handed bat against left-handed pitchers. It's just more diversity within the lineup. Hit singles, keep the train rolling, just keep everybody moving on the base paths, and don't hit into double plays, and let the next guy and give the opportunity to the next guy. It's pretty straightforward. This is pretty straightforward baseball and a pretty straightforward pickup. I will give you credit, though, when you say that, oh, this is a Twins thing where they just like they pick up I'm impressed you heard of this guy.
I play a lot of MLB The Show. He was on one of my Diamond Dynasties.
Because I was like, I saw Dodgers outfielder. I'm like, Shohei plays in center field, doesn't he? We did. How did we work that? Oh, wait, the French guy, who's not probably French. No, it's what, like we talked about with Kiki yesterday, is funny, by the way, that we have probably like a 7-minute conversation on Kiki 24 hours ago. And before the sun even thinks about setting, the Dodgers trade this guy.
It was 2 hours after we recorded the podcast.
And then they signed Kiki. You're like, all right, well, that's That's amazing how that works out. So
Right.
that's a good jinx. And the lesson learned on our part is if you want anybody on the Twins organization, don't ever mention their name, because the current or former team that guy played for is going to sign them immediately.
Right, exactly. So the inverse happens. So if you wish like Royce Lewis to be traded immediately, they'll sign him to like a lifetime extension. So I think
Yeah, if you're willing to risk that, I guess go ahead.
So anyway, so I mean, I think the biggest thing
nice fit. That's just an appropriate nice fit.
Right. And the thing about Margot is he's like a 44% ground ball rate. That guy smothers the baseball, which is fine because he can run. So like you said, he can avoid double plays. He was a little banged up last year. So like the if he's a little bit healthier, he's got above average, like not the highest percentile, but he's in like the upper 2/3 of runners in baseball. He doesn't steal a lot of bases, but he played for Tampa last year. Tampa runs the bases well. But again, he's a bottom of the lineup guy. So like we've talked about, every team needs a 9 hitter. And when Margot's in the lineup, boom, he can be that 9 hitter for you.
There's no sense in over evaluating a 9 hitter.
Right.
They're just not going to be 300 future Hall of Famers. This is not how it works. So it's good. You mentioned Buxton. I heard this the other day. This is a quick aside. I, of course, didn't prep you on it at all.
Go for it.
Buxton said he's going to challenge Castro for the stolen base lead on the team this year.
I saw that.
Do we want him to do that?
See, Buxton's just a very confident dude. I think Buxton is feeling the healthiest he's felt coming into spring training in a few years. And I think he's just very over the moon. It's that first day of school and you're like, man, I'm going to be doing all this. I'm going to be doing that. Yeah, I don't know how much we want. I don't know how much the Twins are going to have Buxton steal, because
in a perfect world all the time, right?
Especially since the Twins, they didn't steal a ton last year, but as the season went on and the rules have been changed to kind of encourage more stealing, the Twins did with Castro and with Michael A. Taylor, stole a decent amount of bags. So not like, I think,
in a video game where you can turn the injury settings off, Buxton is stealing a million bases.
Buxton's bunting every at bat, getting to first base, and then stealing second and third, and then There you go.
But if in the video game stats, Byron Buxton's hitting is a 90, and his speed is a 98, and his arm is a 96, and his glove is a 99. Mm-hmm. His injuries are 112. So I hope he does. That would be amazing. That's an awesome like interpersonal sort of competition that needs to exist to have fun. Like, it's a long season, all of those cliches. It's important to have that kind of stuff, and I hope like crazy that they do end up challenging each other for the stolen base lead at the end of the season. Yeah. I hope like crazy that that they each are at like we're starting September and they're each at like 38.
Right.
It'd be amazing.
I'd love to have that. And by the way, if Buxton can do that, like if Buxton is healthy, like his first live batting practice against pitching, I think he took Bailey over like a one hopper off the wall or like banged it off the high wall in center field. Like that guy, we do this every year, but we do it every year because he's so dang talented. I'm ready to be delusional again. If Byron Buxton can just be somewhat healthy, even when that guy wasn't healthy, he still was somewhat productive for the Twins last year. If he can, like that first half of 2021, I'll watch those highlights all the time. He was unstoppable. And if he can, this is the thing, like you wanted that middle of the lineup power hitter, like an Adam Duvall or someone like that to maybe give a little bit of thump, be kind of the right-handed hitting Matt Wallner. But at the same time, if you get a healthy Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa, well, there's your right-handed power hitting. Like those guys, like they can get some doubles and they can get that slugging percentage up. The Twins against lefties were 20th in baseball, bottom 5 in the American League against lefties. Against righties, they were like top 3 in the American League because they have a ton of lefties that can mash. But Buxton and Correa were hurt a lot of last year, so it's hard to gauge how good they were against lefties because the Twins were banking on those two guys mashing lefties, and they just didn't last year. So it'll be very fascinating. By the way, to wrap up the podcast, Byron Buxton and Carlos Correa both making their spring training debuts today. Corey, where is Byron Buxton slated in the lineup? Where's he playing?
Designated hitter.
Center field.
Hey,
He's back.
All right, let's do it.
Take the sign down. This has been the Morning Sports Desk for Tuesday, February 27th.